In the last lessons, you've learned how to recognize Hebrew consonants and then Hebrew vowels. And now, today, we're going to put it all together, learning how to vocalize Hebrew. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to begin pronouncing Hebrew words. That's the goal. Let's get started. The first thing we need to talk about are the different kinds of Dageshim in Hebrew. Dageshim, simply plural of Dagesh, which is the little dot in the letter. There are two types of Dageshim in Hebrew: the Dagesh Lene, which is the soft Dagesh, and the Dagesh Forte, or the strong Dagesh. So first, Dagesh Lene. The Dagesh Lene indicates a pronunciation difference only. It's not grammatically significant. We've already seen Dagesh Lene a number of times. The only letters that take a Dagesh Lene are the Begad Kafat letters: Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Kaf, Pei, and Tav. So, the only time a Dagesh Lene comes into play is when it's one of these 6 letters, the Begad Kafat, and if it is a Dagesh Lene, the only thing it does is affect the pronunciation. In our case, it actually only affects pronunciation for Bet, Vet, Kaf, Kaf, and Pei, Fei, but in ancient Hebrew, also with Gimel, Dalet, and Tav. Now, the Dagesh Forte is the other kind of Dagesh, the strong Dagesh. It represents the doubling of a letter, and it is always grammatically significant. So, if you see a Dagesh in a letter that is not a Begad Kafat letter, it is Dagesh Forte. For example, a Lamed with a Dagesh. Lamed is not a Begad Kafat character, so a Lamed with a Dagesh always means double Lamed. Similarly, a Kof with a Dagesh always represents a double Kof. A Mem with a Dagesh always represents a double Mem. A Tzadeh with a Dagesh always represents a double Tzadeh. Anytime you see a Dagesh in a letter that is not a Begad Kafat letter, it indicates the doubling of that letter. So when it comes to identifying Dageshim, the only time it's an issue is if you have a Begad Kafat letter. If the letter is not Begad Kafat, it is always Dagesh Forte. If it is Begad Kafat, it could be either Dagesh Forte, which indicates doubling, or Dagesh Lene, which indicates a pronunciation difference. So the question is, when we encounter a Dagesh in a Begad Kafat letter, how do we know whether it's Dagesh Lene or Dagesh Forte? So here's the rule. The Dagesh in a Begad Kafat letter is Lene, that means pronunciation only, in the following 2 cases. If the letter is the first letter in the word, it's Dagesh Lene. Or if the letter is immediately preceded by a schwa, it is Dagesh Lene. That is, pronunciation only, not doubling. Otherwise, the Dagesh will be Forte, that means doubling. So, let's look at a few examples. Are the following Dageshim Forte or Lene? Here our word is Bayit. The Dagesh is in the Begad Kafat letter Bet, right here. The question is that Forte, meaning a double Bet, or is it Lene, meaning a pronunciation of Bet and not Vet? The answer, of course, is this is Dagesh Lene, because the Bet is the first letter in the word. Anytime you see the Dagesh in the first letter of the word, it is Dagesh Lene. Here's another example. Here, the Dagesh is in a Dalet. The question is this pronunciation Begad Kafat, or is this a doubled Dalet? Here our second rule comes into play. Just before the Dalet is a Dagesh, which means this is also Dagesh Lene. Neither of these two indicate doubling. The first one, the letter is the first letter in the word. The second one, it follows a schwa. These are the 2 cases where Begad Kafat letter has Dagesh Lene. we can look at a third case. Here we have a Bagad Kafat letter with a Dagesh. If we look prior to the Dagesh, we have not a schwa, but a short vowel, patach. This is not the first letter in the word. It's not following a schwa, so it is Dagesh forte. That means it is indicating a doubled bet. So here are the rules for identifying Dageshim. First of all, a Dagesh in a letter that is not Bagad Kafat is always Dagesh forte. That is, it always represents a doubled letter. Second, a Dagesh in a Bagad Kafat letter is linne, that is, it represents only a pronunciation difference, if the letter is either the first letter in the word or if it follows a schwa. That's what we just looked at before. Otherwise, a Dagesh in a Bagad Kafat letter is forte, represents doubling. There is one more rule that we haven't talked about, and that is this. You will never find a Dagesh in the gutturals or resh. So that means these 5 letters will never take a Dagesh. The gutturals are aleph, ein, hey, and chet. So you'll never see a Dagesh in those 4 gutturals, and you will never see a Dagesh in a resh. Gutturals and resh. Aleph, ayin, hey, chet, resh, never take a Dagesh. Okay, the other thing we need to know in order to begin vocalizing Hebrew is the rules for schwas. In the last lesson, you learned that the schwa is an unpronounced character that marks a consonant with no vowel. That is a silent schwa. So here we have some examples of silent schwas. This schwa is silent, and so this word is pronounced Ephraim. Ephraim. Here we have another silent schwa, so it doesn't make any sound. This word is pronounced Miriam. Miriam, or Miriam is the English. And here we have another silent schwa. So this word is Carmel. Carmel. In each of these cases, the schwa is silent. It just is holding a place under the consonant, but it is not pronounced. Shimshon, also silent schwa. But schwas are not always silent. Sometimes a schwa does the work of a partial or a muttered vowel. We call this a vocal schwa. In transliteration, we write the vocal schwa as follows, an E with a little mark over it. Now a schwa will be vocal under the following conditions. The first case in which a schwa will be vocal is if it is under the first consonant in a word. So here we have a couple examples of that. In the first one, you see the schwa, which is under the first consonant, the dalet. So that means this schwa will be pronounced. So we can pronounce this word devarim. Devarim. Here in the second word, you also see a schwa, which is under this zayin, the first letter in the word. So it will also be vocal. This word is pronounced zevulun. Zevulun. The second case in which a schwa will be vocal is if it is the second schwa in a row. That is, the second schwa in a pair of schwas. A saying I used to remember this is, when 2 schwas go walking, the second one does the talking. So here's a couple of examples of that. Here in the first word, you see 2 schwas right next to each other. In this case, the first one is silent, the second one is vocal. The second schwa in a row is the vocal one. So this word will be pronounced yishma'u. Yishma'u. See the same thing with this second word? We have 2 schwas in a row. First one silent, second one is vocal. This word would be pronounced tiktalu. Tiktalu. The third case in which a schwa is vocal is if it follows a long vowel. So here's a couple of examples of that. Here you see a schwa. If you look in the preceding syllable, you see the vowel is a long shurek, so that means this schwa will be vocal. This word is pronounced ula adam, ula adam. Same case with this schwa. If you look in the preceding syllable, you'll see a long vowel cherek yod. So this schwa will also be vocal, and this word will be pronounced Nineveh. Nineveh. You may recognize that as the word for Nineveh, the capital of the Assyrian Empire. The fourth case in which a schwa will be vocal if it is under a letter followed by the same letter. This doesn't happen very often, but it does occasionally happen. So here the schwa that we're interested in is this one. You'll notice that it's under a chaf, which is followed by another chaf. This schwa will be vocal because otherwise you would have to figure out how to say two chafs in a row with no space in between. So vocal schwa there under the letter followed by the same letter. By the way, there's another schwa in this word which is also vocal because it's under the first letter in the word. So this word would be pronounced Yavarechacha. Yavarechacha. The fifth case in which a schwa would be vocal is if it is under a letter with Dagesh forte. So here's a couple examples of that. In this first word, we're interested in this schwa. If you look above in the lamed, you'll see that there is a Dagesh. Because lamed is not a begad kafat letter, we know this is Dagesh forte. That means it represents a double lamed. By the way, there's also a schwa under the first letter in this word, so both of these schwas will be vocal. So this word is pronounced meyaladot. Meyaladot. In the second word, we're interested in this schwa. Here you see a Dagesh in the kof. Kof is not a begad kafat letter, so we again know this is a Dagesh forte, and therefore that the schwa is vocal. So this word would be pronounced pikadu. Pikadu. There are also several composite schwas, which we learned in the last lesson, which are always pronounced. These are the patak schwa, which is pronounced a, the segol schwa, which is pronounced and the kamatz schwa, which is pronounced a. So whenever you see these composite schwas, you will pronounce them. So, the schwa rules are these. A schwa will be vocal in any of these cases. It is under the first consonant of a word. It is the second schwa in a row. It follows a long vowel. It is under a letter followed by the same letter. It is under a Dagesh forte, or it is a composite schwa. In those cases, the schwa is pronounced. In all other cases, the schwa is silent. Note that a schwa will try to be silent if it can be. So I think of schwas as little introverted characters. If they can figure out how to be silent, they will. So all of these rules about begad kafat letters, dageshim, and vocal and silent schwas gets us to the final task, which is to figure out how to pronounce specific Hebrew words by correctly dividing their syllables. So Hebrew has only a few rules for syllable division, and these rules will always work. The first rule is every syllable must begin with only one consonant. That is, a syllable cannot begin with a vowel, and a syllable will not begin with a consonant cluster. It will begin with one and only one consonant. Second, every syllable must have only one pronounced vowel. Hebrew does not have diphthongs or multiple vowels in a syllable. Third, a syllable may be either open or closed. When I say open, I mean the syllable ends with a vowel, so it's consonant vowel, like ka. A closed syllable ends with a consonant, so it is consonant, vowel, consonant. It's called closed because the vowel is closed in by two consonants. So, for example, kach would be a closed syllable. Finally, a syllable may be either stressed or unstressed. In the typical Hebrew word, the stress is in the final syllable. So if you see a word without a stress marked, assume that the stress is on the final syllable. If the stress is someplace else, it will usually be marked. These are the rules for syllable division. One consonant at the beginning, only one vowel in the syllable. You can either have an open syllable or a closed syllable, and syllables may be either stressed or unstressed. So in theory, we could have the following combinations. We could have a syllable that is a consonant plus a vocal schwa. We could have a syllable that is a consonant vowel. We could have a consonant long vowel or consonant hyperlong vowel. We could have a closed syllable that was consonant short vowel consonant, or closed syllable that is consonant long vowel consonant, or consonant hyperlong vowel consonant. Now we could imagine all of those combinations in an unstressed syllable, or we could imagine in a stressed syllable having consonant short vowel, consonant long vowel, or consonant hyperlong vowel, consonant short vowel consonant, or consonant long vowel consonant, consonant hypervowel consonant. So these are all the possible combinations: stressed and unstressed, open and closed. There are two types of syllables that will never occur in Hebrew. These are both in unstressed syllables. So you will never have an unstressed syllable that is open with a short vowel. The way I think about that is a short vowel isn't strong enough to hold a syllable if it's not stressed. So the short vowel can't hold open that syllable, so you will never see an unstressed open syllable with a short vowel. The other thing that you will not see is an unstressed closed syllable with a long vowel. The way I think about that is a long vowel is too long, it's too powerful to be closed in by a consonant on either side in an unstressed syllable. Now, when a syllable is stressed, anything goes. So you can have a stressed syllable in any formation, but in an unstressed syllable, you'll never see an open syllable with a short vowel or a closed syllable with a long vowel. So these are the two unallowable syllables. No unstressed open syllables with short vowels, that is, you'll never see consonant short vowel unstressed, and no unstressed closed syllables with long or hyperlong vowels. Both of these occur in unstressed syllables. In a stressed syllable, you can have any combination. So here is the rules for syllables. Every syllable must begin with one and only one consonant. Every syllable must have only one pronounced vowel. Syllables may be either open or closed. Syllables may be either stressed or unstressed. A syllable may not be unstressed and open with a short vowel, and it may not be unstressed and closed with a long vowel. Now, those rules are a little confusing, but as you begin to look at more Hebrew words, you'll begin to see how they work, and you'll gain some confidence in pronunciation. So, let's look at a few words and divide them into syllables. If you look at this word in Hebrew, we have our three consonants and two vowels. Both of those vowels are long vowels. The stress is not marked in this word, so we can assume that it's on the second syllable. So the question is, do we divide this word as da-var or as dav-ar? Now, if you remember your syllable rules, you will know that a syllable can never begin with a vowel, and so the second option there can't be correct. So the correct answer is da-var. The first syllable is unstressed and open with a long vowel. That's allowable. The second syllable is closed with a long vowel, but that's okay because it's the stressed syllable. So davar, davar. That word means word. The Dagesh there, by the way, is because this is a Bagad Kfat letter beginning the word. Now let's look at this word. You see here again, you've got 3 consonants and 2 vowels. You notice the little triangle looking thing over the samik. That is an indicator of the stress. So this is a stress on the first syllable. So the question is, should we divide this word as safer or as safe-er? Now again, we have the same issue we had before, which is that you can't begin a syllable with a vowel, and so the second version there is not allowable. So this word is safer, safer. Now, here you see again you have an open syllable with a long vowel stressed, and then you have a final syllable which is closed with a short vowel, and short vowels like closed syllables when they're not stressed. So everything's good. Safer. Here we have another word. The issue here is whether this schwa should be pronounced or not. If the schwa is silent, this word would be mishkan. If the schwa is pronounced, it would be mishikan. So the question is, which is the better pronunciation? Now, you look in the syllable previous, and you'll notice that this vowel is a hirek. Hireks, if you remember, can be either long or short. So this hirek could either be mishikan or it could be mishkan. This is where we remember that schwas are introverts and they like to be silent if they can. So if you have an option between long hirek and a vocal schwa, short hirek, and a silent schwa, you will choose the silent schwa. So we would prefer for this word to be mishkan. Mishkan. Here we have another word with a schwa after the second letter. Here again we have a vowel in the first syllable. This is a kibbutz that can either be short or long. So we can either have shulchan or we can have shulachan. So once again, because the vowel can be either short or long, the schwa wants to remain silent if it can. So this word is pronounced shulchan. Shulchan. Let's look at another example. The question here is whether this Dagesh should be read as a Dagesh linne or a Dagesh forte. You recognize that this letter is a bet, which is a Bagad Kfat letter, and so in theory this could be either Dagesh linne or Dagesh forte. So you'll remember the rule. It's Dagesh linne if it follows a schwa or if it's the first letter in the word. So this particular Dagesh follows a patach. That means this is not Dagesh linne, it's Dagesh forte, which represents a double bet. So we would, if the question is, do we pronounce this medaber with one bet, or do we pronounce it medaber with 2 bets? The answer is we have 2 bets. Medaber. Here we have an ambiguous vowel. As you remember, this could either be a kametz hatuf, that would be melochim, or it could be a kametz and long a, melachim. So, if you look at that first division, melochim, you will recognize that that middle syllable would be a unstressed syllable that is consonant short vowel, and that is not allowable. Because we have an unstressed syllable that is consonant vowel, the vowel has to be long. So that means we prefer melachim. Melachim. We have the same issue here in this word. We have this schwa, and we have this vowel here that could either be a kametz or kametz hatuf. So here the question is, do we read that as a ah, short ah, or as a long ah? So it's either chochma or it's hachma. In this case, you remember the rule that a schwa prefers to be silent if it can, and so we would want to read that first vowel as a kametz hatuf. So this is chochma. This also, if you think about it, if it were hachma, the second syllable would be an unstressed consonant followed by a short vowel, and that is not tolerable for Hebrew. So, chochma. So let's finish by pronouncing a few Hebrew words. This word is a slightly quirky one because you will see here an aleph that has no vowel associated with it. We don't see this very often, but every once in a while you will see what is called a quiescent aleph. We'll talk about that as we go. Don't worry about it right now. So this word is going to be pronounced ba-re-sheet. Ba-re-sheet. This is what it looks like. Here's our aleph. Ba-re-sheet. Ba-re-sheet. Okay, this word, here you notice that we have two kametzes in the first two syllables. So this word is pronounced bara. Bara. Here's what it looks like. Bara. Bara. Here we have a word that begins with a segol schwa, pronounced e. So this word is Elohim. Elohim. Here's what it looks like transliterated. Elohim. Elohim. This word is easy to pronounce. This is just et. Et. This word, you'll notice that the stress is on the next to the last syllable. So this word is ha-sha-ma-yim. Ha-sha-ma-yim. Here's what it looks like. Hash-sha-ma-yim. Hashamayim. Hashamayim. This word, you have a vocal schwa there in the first syllable. V. And then et. Ve'et. Ve'et. Here, you notice this stress is in the next to the last syllable. So ha-aretz. 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 Now, if we put all that together, we get this. Bereshit bara Elohim et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Try it again. Bereshit bara Elohim et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Bereshit bara Elohim et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Bereshit bara Elohim et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. This, translated, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So congratulations, you just pronounced the first verse of the Hebrew Bible, and it's all downhill from here. Keep studying these rules, and it'll all start to make sense soon enough. Great job.